we'll bring in our coach, host of BetQL tonight, the big homie Trysta Krick. Trysta, what's happening?
I miss you guys. You look great. I just want to say whatever's happening with you guys, the sun and something getting a little bit of feedback. What's happening there?
So we were so happy to see you. We wanted to hear you twice.
Nice.
There you go.
Damian, you look good. I like the button up.
Yeah, I was gonna go Richard Jefferson and go 3 buttons down, but
Were you gonna go Jerry Buss? Were you gonna
Jerry Buss is like 6. Jerry Buss is like 6 buttons down.
He rocked it. He rocked it well too. And Casey, you look tan. You got a little sun?
No, I'm here. This is me every day.
No, you look like you got a little extra on you. The sun's out. It's good. It's looking good. You guys look great.
You know what? It's funny. I thought Trysta was making a joke, but as Kenny leads into his camera, it does look like you got some sun on your cheeks.
Every day, man. It's just me, man. You know, I'm just here. I'm trying to think. Have I been in the sun? I go to a lot of baseball games, little league games.
That's why. Yeah, you got a little half shade, just like a half shade up.
And I wear a hat all the time at the game, so maybe that's what's going on. I don't know.
Anyway, so we got some new news. Or what?
No.
Is it done? When's it gonna be done?
That's a great question. That's the only question we want. Just get it. Just send the freaking tweet already,
please,
and tell us who it's gonna be.
We want to know. We want to know.
Do you think it's Mark Jackson?
I think it is.
You do?
Well, look, I haven't checked. Are there odds on this?
No, not that I can see. Not on like real books. Not on real books.
Why do you think it's Mark?
Because Vivek wants him. That's really it. And I think it would be a splashier hire for sure.
Yeah.
That just what the Kings need is more attention on them.
Well, Kenny made I thought this was a good point. Mark's going to walk in, if Mark winds up getting the job, he walks in as the biggest star on the team. Like he'll get more attention. He's more well known across the NBA. This isn't a slight. Like this, Mark Jackson's in the NBA Finals every year. De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis are not.
Yes.
So he walks in with an edge, with an attitude, and perhaps with a chip on his shoulder. And
I think so.
Yeah,
he'll give you a good soundbite.
You know, that's the thing he's really good at. You know, is handling the media relations component. Just a great interview. I think did I tell you guys one of the very first things I did post sideline reporting was I got Mark Jackson to do push-ups with me at the Drew League.
No.
You have not told us this story.
Okay. So I'm like freelancing at USA Today, and I'm just trying to like create some interesting off the cuff sort of social friendly content. And they had that 22 challenge, the 22 push-up challenge that they were doing for, I want to say like suicide prevention awareness. So I went to the Drew League because I was living in LA, which I don't know, for those who don't know the Drew League that might be listening, it's like probably one of the most poppin' amateur/pro basketball leagues in the country, right? It's been going on in South Central for 25 plus years.
Trysta was in the trenches.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
And they had trenches.
tons of star power there. Like the front line. I mean, Kobe's played in it before. KD came through, popped up. So there's like a lot of current NBA players that'll play in it, and like guys who are trying to come back up, right? So on the sidelines was Mark. And so I asked him if he would do the 22 push-up challenge with me. And I had a little camera set up in the back near the locker room, and they gave me like full access, the guy who started it. And he was like, I've never done a push-up in my entire life.
That's crazy.
And I was like, what? And he's like, this will be my very first push-up. When I was even in college, I said no. Like, I just wouldn't do them. I didn't think that they. And so now whenever I see him, I'm like, do you remember me? He's like, yeah, you're the person that got me to do my very first and only push-up. It was, look it up, guys. Google it. He was struggling.
I don't know, man. I don't know if we can have a coach that can't do push-ups, though, bro.
Headline. Do you want a head coach / leader that's only done 17 push-ups in his entire life?
Oh man, maybe he's worked on it since then. Like everything else in life, maybe he's worked on it since that embarrassing moment.
The theme of Mike Brown, he's a work, or the theme of Mark Jackson, he's a work in progress.
Mm-hmm.
You have an opinion?
Life's a journey.
Do you have an opinion on Mike Brown?
It's a no for me, dog.
Oh wow.
I'm so done with retreads. Like, can we get David Vanderpool in here?
That's perfectly fair. We in Sacramento cannot, apparently, because I guess we're discriminatory and we don't like young coaches here because we weeded them out quickly.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my thing about Mike Brown is like, I'm sure he's like a fine coach and he's obviously been sitting on some very elite benches as of late. And I'm sure he's learned a lot, but I feel like there's got to be another way to allow people to come in who either have been looking for an opportunity for a long time and maybe have been an opportunity been taken away, like Mark Jackson. I feel like he probably shouldn't have been fired from the Warriors. The fact that he got them to 50 plus wins or whatever. So I'm down with that level of a quote unquote retread. Maybe Clifford because he got fired pretty fast in Orlando, but we've seen Mike Brown a lot. And
well, it's because he's been successful.
How successful?
I mean, that Cleveland Cavaliers team was pretty good. I have no idea why he was fired 5 games into a season for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah.
After, going 40-something and 20-something the year prior. And the Cleveland thing, the second Cleveland thing, I got nothing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
That's the part that's sticking in my little old brain.
Well, it's the last thing we saw. So the last thing you see from someone is what stands out the most. And it was a terrible team, terrible record. And he's fired after one season, got paid. I think he just stopped getting paid for that deal like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
LeBron's came and went. LeBron has won titles with multiple coaches since Mike Brown lost that job. And he was still getting paid for it.
What do you guys want?
Well,
we like them both, right?
Yeah.
Kenny's more Mark Jackson. I'm more Mike Brown.
Those are the only two ones that you can choose from?
Steve Clifford is not a candidate. We do not need Ross Perot in this conversation. We do not need the third-party candidate.
We like, some of the new guys that would possibly get a shot, but obviously they're out the window, and it's down to Mark and Mike. And my thing is, I just feel like Mark Jackson's ceiling as a coach is higher than Mike Brown's. Just a gut feeling. Could be wrong. Mike Brown has a heck of a resume, and he's been around the game for a long time, been around a lot of great coaches and great teams. So he could easily do a good job. It's just a feeling that I have that for what this franchise needs and what they're looking for, I think Mark Jackson is the guy to get them there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate that.
We need to shift gears for a minute because I saw you. What the hell is going on in Philadelphia? Are they going to win a single game? And what are they going to do with your boy when this is all over?
One, I went on a very negative rant today about Philadelphia. I don't know if it's been posted, but it was very on one. I don't enjoy anything more, I don't think, besides like my team's success and Laker failure. And then thirdly, it's like Philadelphia decline. Like, I just don't like that culture as a sports town whatsoever. They've been mean to me. They're delusional, and I'm mean to them right back. As for Joel, I think I'm heartbroken for him, right? Like, he's an Iron Man. He's toiling through all these people that they have coming in and out. He's the only stable one. Obviously, he's had injuries, but I think like an elbow to the face and a torn thumb, sort of fluky. And yet he's probably top 2 MVP candidate amongst all that, scoring champion. So he deserves more than this version of James Harden. Apparently, James is going to opt into his player option. Oof. Who knows if that's the case?
Oh man!
Also, the news is that Sam Amick, he's in the Bay, right? Sam Amick's in the Bay. He's reporting that James Harden's going to take less than the max, which, let's be honest. Can you guys imagine him doing less than that? Like, no.
Well, no, but Sam's always been pretty. He's had a good relationship with Daryl Morey in years past.
Yeah.
So, if Sam says it when it comes to Daryl Morey, something involving Daryl Morey, okay, I'll believe. It's hard for me to believe. And how much less are we talking? Because at this point, it needs to be a lot less.
Like, there's a big difference between, like, I'll take 46 versus 50, and I'll take 34 versus 50. Right? Like, because we're talking a situation where Tyler Hero is up for 37 a year. And we know how NBA players' egos are. If James Harden is making less than Tyler Hero, I don't see it. I don't see it. So you're going to have to show me that situation. And like, is that 3 million or 6 million player, I will call it like Daryl Morey discount, going to lead to something? Like, are you adding that plus whatever you can get for Tobias Harris in a trade? Like, this whole thing is like, don't you feel like it's just kind of like teeter-tottering on payroll?
It's a mess. It is a complete mess. I don't know what the hell they're going to do there. And they can just burn in hell. I don't care. Except for Joel.
Get rid of everyone but Joel and Maxey.
Yeah. Maxey.
And Maxey outplaying Harden in the playoffs is my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Just certified, if you're not going to do it, I guess I will.
It's just so crazy. Joel is out. You went and acquired this guy. Like, how many franchises does James Harden have to burn before it's just like, yeah, we ain't going to do this no more? Like, he burned Brooklyn, and now you got Joel out, and it's like, no, I'm going to take 13 shots. I'm going to take 15 shots. No, dude, take 30 shots. Like, at least attempt to help your team win.
The thing that I don't think we're talking about enough is that his threes are like air balls. So
he's looking cooked, man. He's looking cooked, and I don't have as much of a problem with James Harden as everybody else, but he's looking like he's finished.
Finished. You've got a circumstance where Russ and Harden, both those guys who were on that Oklahoma City, like almost dynasty. Those guys like can't even hit rim on their jumpers anymore.
Tragic.
Meanwhile, like Joel's like, this is the guy that you brought in to save me. I thought he was finessing the world. Like, I really, truly believe, and I think we talked about this. Like, when the trade went down, I was pretty excited, thinking like maybe he's been finessing everyone for years, just pretended to be out of shape, pretended to not have it. He's going to get to Philly. He's going to show us he can shoot 25 times a game and like get to the line a million times, get back to MVP. It's like he is a depreciated asset, and you're now scheduled to extend a depreciated asset that in 7 years from now is worth nothing.
Tragic.
Things you hate to see for Philly. Things you hate to see for Philly.
You think Phoenix loses a game?
No, I don't. Not in this series. They seem to have zeroed in on something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
They have found the guy they want to pick on.
Let me ask you a question, Trysta. We mentioned it a little bit yesterday on this show. Do you think Luka's a hard person to build around?
Yes.
With his style of play, he's pretty ball dominant.
I think what we're seeing right now in this league is that ball dominant guards in that way, not playmaking ball dominant high usage guards, need certain types of players around them for it to work. And if you don't have that, then I think that makes the team really hard to succeed. And that was what is interesting, I think, with what the Celtics have done a little bit. They've added a lot of like wing, especially those ball dominant guards like Donovan Mitchell. If you don't have defenders around him that are long and rangy and athletic, then they become a defensive liability that you just zero in on and pick on. And if they're not running the offense and scoring 50, like then you could kind of like be in a situation where a more spread it out, kind of anyone can eat on any given night team is just going to dominate you.
Yeah.
I know we're supposed to let you go, but do you think we've seen two different versions of the Celtics and Bucks, right? The two games have been very different. Which one is closer to what we're going to see the rest of the series?
Can we split the middle?
Yes. Give me 7.
So let's split the middle. I think you'll see the Celtics come down to earth a little more from where they were in game 2. Like, I don't think Jalen cooks for 17 in the first quarter on a hammy. Those mid-range shots are going to be there for them. It's just whether Budenholzer, I think, can make adjustments to contest those. Maybe you want to give up a little more, maybe almost like, if I was going to do it, like make them look like, feel like layups are there and then come in late and contest those. But it feels like you kind of have a situation where Celtics were hotter than they're ever going to be in game 2 and Bucks were colder than they're ever going to be in game 2. Like, Giannis can't be shut down forever. I think it goes 7, and I think it's a roller coaster ride. And I'm wondering how Marcus Smart in game 3 coming back helps or hurts them since he is so undersized.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
In that particular series, I think it goes 7. I think Boston wins. Before, I thought Milwaukee was going to win the series. But right before the series started, I thought Boston was going to win because the Chris Middleton thing, I think that's eventually going to catch up to Milwaukee, and Boston is just playing lights out. But I know this. Boston got to get one of these 2 games. I don't think if they go down 3-1, Giannis is going to blow a 3-1 lead. I don't think so. So they got to get one of these 2 in Milwaukee, get the home court back, and get things back in their favor.
They might get 2 in Milwaukee, and I'll tell you why. Ime Udoka. They're bought into everything that dude is coaching on the defensive end, and if they can, they don't have to shut Giannis down. They have to quiet Giannis, because the name that we haven't mentioned in the conversation, Chris Middleton, he ain't coming back.
No.
And that's, when we look back on this series, if the Bucks lose, it's perfectly fair to bring up the fact Chris Middleton wasn't there, because I do think part of the reason that the Celtics defense will be able to zero in on Giannis Antetokounmpo this way is because Chris Middleton isn't there.
Yeah.
That perimeter threat isn't there. And it's, hat tip to the Bucks if they're able to pull this off without him. But I think the Celtics defense is too good.
Yeah, and you're seeing, too, that when Giannis doesn't get into a rhythm early in the paint and he stopped there, then it's almost like everything has a cascading effect with the mid-range, with long-range jumpers, him at the free throw line, the frustration sort of builds. He gets into a rhythm in the paint by getting downhill, and if you stop him from getting downhill, everything else kind of comes a little more difficult. So he needs to get going like fast early in the first quarter of this game, get guys in foul trouble, just really assert his will. If they can get out into transition, I think that'll help them tremendously. Like, just make life really difficult for Rob Williams, get Rob Williams in foul trouble. If you can do that, then you have a shot. But man, is Boston really, really like physical and long athletically. And they've figured out, like, okay, Milwaukee's athleticism, we just need to make crisper passes, and we need to make the extra pass.
Yeah. Real quick, I know you got to go, but I mean, we didn't even ask you about the best series in the playoffs right now. You think everything was handled correctly and fairly with Dylan Brooks?
No, I don't. I love talking to you guys. I could go all day. Riddle me this. If my man Gary Payton pops right up, which is kind of like important to note, because the foul qualifications doesn't have anything to do with the result, does it not? It has to do with unnecessary contact, and what's the other one? Unnecessary and excessive.
Unnecessary and excessive.
Unnecessary and excessive. He pops right back up. I think it's a flagrant 1 if he pops right back up. Max,
I think because he hit the head, it's a flagrant 2. I don't think he gets suspended.
Right. Definitely doesn't get suspended because you could tell, like I watched it probably 50 times in a row, you could tell that it was almost like I'm trying to go for the ball in the arm, and then the lower part of his arm hits the head as he's slapping across.
Yeah, that's the thing I don't understand. People were like, he clearly wasn't making a play on the ball. No, he was trying to block the ball. Like he was. He just didn't have the hops or anything to actually get to the ball. But he tried to swipe at the ball for sure.
But I think Trysta makes a good point too. Yeah, he was trying to hit the ball. He was also trying to hit his arm. So he was trying to take away the layup.
Yep.
Right? Like you're not going to get an and one. If I'm a foul you, you're not going to get an and one.
Exactly.
But
the head just happened to be
head was in the way.
Head was in the way. It didn't feel like I'm going for the head. No ball, no arm anywhere. Right. And so to me, it seemed like also, in addition, Steve Kerr can't be going after the Dylan Brookses of the world when your team has injured a plenty of players accidentally, right? And you're in a glass house. You can't call that dirty and say the Zaza thing was like just an unfortunate event. So to me, I thought that was kind of trash. And I love Steve Kerr. I'm a huge Dylan Brooks fan. I'm a huge Gary Payton II fan, but I'm a Duck, right? So I've been watching this from Dylan Brooks for a very long time. And he's just
wild back there, boy. Too. He was wild at Oregon.
Wild. And like, too, I think Dylan Brooks isn't aware. This is what we forget. Dylan Brooks isn't aware that he has a negative wingspan. Like his arms are like little. So he's not gonna get to the ball unless he starts getting into the gym and like working on his quads and his hammies to get a little more spring, a little more bounce to the ounce.
He can come to Sacramento though. We'll take him here.
Oh, he would be awesome there. This thing goes 7, don't you think? Like this could go down to the final minute for 7 full games.
I think so. Much like Boston, I think Memphis needs to get one of these two.
Yeah, they do.
That's gonna be really I don't think they can win if they don't get one of these two.
I agree.
Love talking hoops with you, man. Thanks so much for joining us, Trysta.
2 guys who love the game as much as me. You know the drama. Before I even finish my sentence, you know where I'm going. It's nice.
The symmetry.
Family, baby.
Have a great rest of the day. You guys look phenomenal. Like if you're not watching on wherever this is being posted,
it's
like
everywhere.
watch these. They got their big sexy on today, guys.
I agree.
Get on Trysta Krick's level. That's all we're trying to do. That's all we're trying to do.
Have a great one. I'll see you guys next Friday.